Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's Writers Chat. And this is the place writers like to gather, and we talk about all things writers, for writers, and by writers. And we are excited because it's the Christmas season. We should have music playing or something today. And I'm trying to think the exact theme. I think we're calling it a writer's Christmas or a Christmas. What's our theme, Melissa?
Christmas memories and writer gifts.
In Christmas memories and writer's gifts. So we're asking anybody that's here today that want to participate to kind of stay on, and we'll just have a roundtable kind of discussion and make it kind of a fun sharing, which is appropriate for this time of year. My name is Jean Wise. I'm your co-host, and our other co-hosts are Johnny Alexander and Bethany, who's here, but she's off camera right now. And just like I said, we're just glad to see everybody here today. So anyway, Johnny, where should we start?
Well, I've been thinking about this quite a lot, so I'm going to do a couple different things here. First, I will say my very first writing article that I got paid for was actually a New Year's memory that was published in a small regional Ohio magazine. I think it's called Over the Back Fence, and that was many, many, many years ago, but I was so excited about that. And thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to be a magazine writer from here on out. No, I mean, that was like years passed before I got paid anything else again. But, you know, still it was great. And it was great to have that be something that got published, was a New Year's memory. Yes, Catherine.
Okay, you say it was years before you got published again, but how many did you query?
None. I mean, yeah. I
Okay.
mean, it was just totally no. It was like no. I was working full time. I had 3 kids at home. I think I was going to school. I mean, who knows what was going on.
But it was an affirmation of that. It kind of gave you the taste, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was. So, you know, sometimes you can mine though your holiday memories and look for those regional magazines. I guess that's a little tip thrown in. And then the other thing is I was thinking about writers' gifts, and we talked about, you know, what do we want to have for writers' gifts, and I think, you know, sometimes it's fun just to have things that make you feel very writerly, you know. And last year my sister gave me for Christmas this pen, and it's from Levenger. I mean, and it's it's a really nice pen. And of course my tendency was, as I've done with I had one other pen that someone gave me once after Where Treasure Hides was debuted. A group of my friends got together and gave me this really pretty pen, and I just stuck it away, you know, like kept it nice and neat. And I thought, you know what, no, I'm not going to do that. So this is a really cool pen, and I don't use it all the time, but I do use it sometimes to autograph books or just to write in my sketchbook which I use as a novel journal type thing. And it writes big and bold, and I like it, and it's just really cool. So, you know, sometimes just something like that can be a really nice gift to receive, because it makes me feel like, ooh, I'm a writer, you know, with my
Affirmation
pen.
With that thought in mind, it could also be good to have some for gifts at book signings.
Yes, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I do have the pin too that I got from Where Treasure Hides, those ladies, and it's engraved with my initials. And now I've got this pin out and I use it too. And it came in this really pretty box, and you can't see it, I'm sure, but it says treasure the moments on it. And, you know, those of you who know me know that that's sort of my thing. So it was a very, very special gift. And this sits on my bookshelf right behind me, but the pin is now out where I use it too. So.
Does anybody use fountain pens? I have some friends that use fountain pens, and they love writing with those.
Yeah.
Those special.
too, but
What,
Okay.
Melissa?
said would love to, but yeah, I don't have any currently. You did remind me though, my youngest son, they had like a little Christmas exchange at their elementary school, and they were exchanging gifts and stuff and things that they would get to give to other family members, and he got me a little pin.
Oh,
And it was even my favorite color, and you know, it's just a local business pen. There's nothing expensive about it, but I just loved it that he thought to do that for me. So I thought that was sweet.
So it could be, our writer's gifts can be relatively simple.
Mm-hmm.
What it is and stuff on that. Other Christmas memories as writers. Let's start with that one a little bit more. Anybody got one that they want to share? Melissa, what did you have? You said you had something.
Well, mine actually is a memory that does center around a gift. I joked about it. We were talking about puns, and my gift Yeah, it's a little bit of a pun because it's a spin-off from my research that I was doing as a writer, and it's let me see. I can't tell. It's that spinning wheel right behind me.
Oh, okay.
But that it was a gift that was given while I was discussing my research, and when I was looking, it was during the time I was researching for book 2 and kind of just refining edits in the first book, and I was looking into what cloth making implements were used during the 10th century, and the Viking women and all women of the 10th century spun with a drop spindle, because the spinning wheel hadn't been invented until the Chinese came up with it in 1000 AD. So I was looking into spinning wheels. I had a friend who used a drop spindle, and I was watching what she did, and I watched YouTube videos and all sorts of things, and it struck up a conversation with my parents, and we were talking about spinning and all the implements that came with it. And it was just a fun conversation, and I thought nothing of it. And then 2 Christmases ago, they surprised me with that spinning wheel, because I had talked about how much I loved spinning wheels. And so they were antique shopping and got me this 1800 spinning wheel.
That's precious.
And yeah, so, and even the washed and dyed wool to spin on it. So now if I ever find the time to do so.
Well, what did you say? Drop spool?
A drop spindle is basically, it's kind of like a stick, a distaff with a weight on the bottom, and they suspend it by the yarn itself, by what you're spinning. They'll drop it and they'll get it to rotating and spinning, and then they draft the yarn from that. Yeah, I wish I had one to show you. They're all different types, but yeah, that's how they did it back then. Run
Wow.
it between their legs, or just holding it up and spinning it.
That is wild and stuff.
But that goes to show the importance of listening when gift giving.
Yeah.
Because they listened to the story that you told and the impact it made, and they found a gift, unexpected gift for you.
And a couple years afterwards too, so they remembered all that.
My aunt used to carry a journal around with her in her purse, and when someone would mention something like that, she'd make a note of it. So when she had an opportunity to give us a special gift, she could look at her journal and see what people had been talking about or mentioning.
Wow.
That's a good idea.
That is a great idea. And writers almost always have a little notebook. Why couldn't we include? Or a happy planner. Where's Bethany? Bethany, we want a happy planner writer gift page. Create that and sell that. She's not on right.
Couldn't she? Did she disappear on us?
And she's in the chat, so she's still on. She's just not on.
Oh gosh, I'm missing the chat.
She's blocked us.
Yeah, on that. We'll tell her we're talking about her. That'll get her back over here.
I'm like Johnny, that my first national writing credit in Chicken Soup was in one of their Christmas books.
Was it really cool?
And I was so excited, and it's a story. I'm a pastor's wife, and when I was a young pastor's wife, I'll just summarize it since it's already out there. When I was a young pastor's wife, there was a woman that terrorized me. She was on the parsonage committee, and the very first time she showed me around the house, she was telling me all the things. When I come and visit you, I better, never find food in this sink trap, and stuff like that. I'm terrified of this little blue-haired old lady.
Oh my God.
And so it came Christmas time. They always had a big party at the parsonage. And so, I practically was on my hands and knees, scrubbing the floors and stuff, getting everything just perfectly ready for the women, because they had a carry-in dinner. So they call it in the South, instead of potluck, they have a carry-in dinner where everybody carries in a meal. Well, when, my lady, when she arrived, the party could begin, because she was just like queen of all she surveyed. Well, she did not like cats. And I was the first pastor's wife who was invited, permitted to have my 15-year-old cat that I'd had since I was a girl. And I'm only 22, girls, so only 22 years old. And Kitty was allowed to be in the parsonage, and she just sniffed around like, okay, that's what people said. You can have a cat, and she hated cats. Well, I banished everybody. My husband and Kitty, I threw him outdoors, even though it was cold. Well, pretty soon we had just sat down to serve our meal, and I heard this coming up the stairs, kind of roll, and cats, when they have something in their mouth, I had put a pet door in the window in the basement. Nobody knew about it, that the cat could let himself in and out, because a cat is always on the wrong side of a closed door. So anyway, Kitty had been outdoors, and the kitty came indoors, and I realized I forgot to shut the door to the basement. So pretty soon, here comes Kitty through the door. I got up and ran for the door. Comes Kitty through the door, and he's got a live mouse. And of course, he's very proud of his mouse.
Mhm.
So he marched the mouse into the living room, where about 18 to 20 church ladies were in the middle of their dinner, and it went like this. And everybody started screaming. Women were jumping on the furniture. I grabbed the cat. He dropped the mouse. Right. And there's nobody, and the mouse had been injured. He just took a few steps, and kind of wobbled over and fell dead on the carpet. It was either that or fright. I don't know. But the women are screaming and everything. And you know how all of a sudden pandemonium stops? Everything stopped. And they're all looking at this one lady, like, how do we respond to this? And she said, oh, y'all, just calm down. We said it was a carry-in dinner. And that is a true story. She never did like cats in the parsonage. She eventually warmed up to me, thank God. Didn't have to be terrified of her anymore. But yeah, that was the story I wrote up for Chicken Soup, and they bought it. Yeah. Well, you cannot make these things up. I mean, I can write humor, but there's nothing funnier than real life.
Yeah.
Real life is just funny.
And that's the value of a writer paying attention, especially like during the holidays. We've got that we will in the next couple of weeks have a buffet of writers' ideas presented to us if we just observe it and make note on these pages that Bethany's going to create for us for our happy planners. She is on her iPhone. I've noticed in the chat now. She's
on her iPhone.
You can't keep those notes on a planner. It's got to be small and discreet. Otherwise, they figure out you're writing about them.
Mini planner. We could do it in the mini planner.
My second story was also, I have a second Christmas story. So last year's Christmas book had a second Christmas story, and I won't tell that right now. I don't want to hog our time together, but when the funniest things happen at church. I don't know about anybody else, because everybody is trying so hard to be prim and proper and straight-laced. And life is just not that way. Life is wild, and wild things happen. And usually it's children or animals or something come along and just create chaos in the middle of what is supposed to be, perfection. I could write story after story about children's Christmas musicals. I mean, the funniest things happen in children's Christmas musicals. And we have videos that we watch and just laugh till we cry, because it's so fun.
You say that about churches, everybody trying to be perfect. And I was going through my pictures from church camp, and I'm not joking. It's the end of the sessions. They always had a talent show.
Yeah.
And one of the guys was blowing smoke rings.
Oh my word.
Love it.
I was raised Episcopalian.
With talented group. We had Christmas pageant, the little kids' Christmas pageant this last Sunday, and I happened to be the worship leader this last Sunday, and I opened worship with a quote that I had read, and then I don't have it in front of me, but so I can't say it for verbatim. That I thought was so cool. Was just think how you love watching these kids tell this Christ story, and they goof and they forget lines and they make mistakes. And then we had one little girl putting the bunny ears behind her sister all the way through the program. It was just hysterical. And then they grab their underpants. They do all these silly, bizarre things while telling the greatest story ever told. And the quote was, and just imagine that's how God watches us, with love, passion, and acceptance, and it's just, I had more people afterwards say that made the Christmas story that day for them. That every time they giggled and laughed at the kids, they thought, he not laughs at us, but he laughs with us, and he loves us even though, even though we're making all these silly errors. I just thought it was a great quote.
And God may
There's a
not laugh
fabulous-
at you, but he totally laughs at me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know he laughs. Yeah, but
There's
I mean,
a
he laughs
fabulous-
at
great
me.
image.
Yeah.
There is a fabulous Christmas book. If you have not read it, you need to go get it. It's called The Best Christmas Pageant Ever.
Yes.
Any of you ever
Movies
read
too.
that? The little family called the Herdman kids, and how they're really rough kids that come into this church. I laughed and laughed and laughed. That's a fabulous Christmas read if you've never read it.
Yeah, it's a great thing. Well, speaking of that, a movie, and it's a good movie too. A movie was one of my writer's memories, because I had trouble coming up with something, and I do have a couple of things on writer's memories. But the first one was the movie, and I think it was last year, might have been 2 years ago, was it, and I said to my husband, I went out and looked in our DVD cupboard to see if we bought it, and we didn't. And I said, I need to have this movie. It is called The Man Who Invented Christmas.
Yes. I knew that's what you were going to say. Yeah.
I tell you that story, if you have not seen that one, it's the story of Charles Dickens when he wrote The Christmas Carol. And it is a writer's movie, because all the characters come alive in his office, and they talk to him, and they say, well, we don't want to say that line, or you can't make us do this. And it's just, and how he struggles with the story, and the story becomes, I think the thing as a writer, it becomes something more than us, it becomes something beyond. And it has life, and I think that was what I was thinking about at Christmas as a writer. That's ideal to do it. You knew I was going to say that one, Johnny, didn't you?
I did, and Bethany just wrote in the comments, she said, Mom, seeing that movie is one of my favorite memories, because we went to see it together. And also, she and Kyle and Michelle and I all happened to be in Tampa at the same time, and we all went to see it together. So I'm talking about Michelle Madlock Adams, children's author, and Kyle Young, agent, for those watching replay and may not know. And yeah. I'm sorry, I just remember something funny, but it's too long and complicated. And you had one of those you had to be there moments. So but it happened at the theater that day, or when we went to see it. So Kyle fell asleep. That wasn't what I was thinking about, but that was funny too. But yeah, it was so fun. It was fun seeing it with them, even if Kyle did miss part of it by sleeping, because then it is just such a great writer's movie, and we can just identify with those characters that are just surrounding him, and he wants them to go away, and they will not.
And they're dictating to him how to write the book. The creativity in that show, and I love the creativity side of any type, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. When I see it as a writer, and there's a lot of creativity at Christmas time. There really is. The other thing I remembered was it was last Christmas Eve, and many of you know, I began my job at my church changed a year or so ago as we merged 3 parishes. So I part-time, but I work with the full-time minister, and we serve 3 parishes, which usually works out pretty good. Christmas Eve and Easter are a challenge. So we have 4 services Christmas Eve. We start at 4:30, and the last one starts at 10:30. So it is a marathon. And I wasn't sure last year how it would go. And I can remember a moment in the 10:30 service, 4th time around, start to get tired. You guys, I'm a morning person. I am not an evening person. This is 10:30 at night. This is probably 11 at night. And we probably had another half hour, 45 minutes yet to go with the candles and the singing and communion and all this. And I'm starting to get whipped. And I looked out. I remember I was sitting up front, and I looked out on the body of Christ, and I thought, wow, this is worship, and it was just a cool moment of being with God, worshiping God, and being together and in the community of love. And it was a kind of like what I said on the movie about it's something more. It was being part of something more, something very deep and meaningful. But anyway, those are my 2 kind of writers things just in the last 2 Christmases, I think, or 1 Christmas maybe, and stuff on that. But we're supposed to ask John about stealing popcorn.
Yeah, that was the thing I was thinking about when I started laughing. I'll try to tell, but it's hard. You know, it was one of those you had to be there kind of things. But we're sitting there waiting for the movie to come on, and I think there was a delay. The projector something was going on, so we were waiting. We actually even got free tickets to come back to see another movie because it took so long to get the movie started. But this person walked in with 2 empty big tubs, like popcorn tubs, and then someone else comes in with this huge bag of popcorn, and I turned to Bethany. And because I think, well, did he just bring that in or did he buy it like that? And I thought, well, you know, I said, anytime I sneak in popcorn, I get caught. And she looked at me and goes, well, how many times have you done that? I said, never. Never. but every time I do, I get caught. I've never done it.
But you've never done it.
So we were just in that mood, and she started laughing, I started laughing. She's giving me these strange looks, and
every time.
Every time.
Now we'll call Johnny the popcorn stealer, you know, on that one. Well, what other writers' stories at Christmas time do we have? And then we'll switch to gifts. What do you think? I don't know if Debbie or Catherine, Mary, who else is here has got something. Anybody got an idea to share?
I'm no longer allowed at my family gatherings.
See, that's an opening for a story. We got it.
That is true. Yeah. I'm not allowed to go home for Christmas.
What did you do?
They're all worried.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and let's talk about gifts then. Let's switch gears, because what is your best gift you've ever gotten as a writer? We heard about Johnny and his pen and the spinning wheel behind Melissa. Or what would be the perfect writer's gift?
I have an unusual one. Okay, you go, Johnny.
No, you can go first.
Well, it looks like something that should be in a science fiction movie, but here it is. It is called a square jellyfish.
Yeah.
And what it does is it holds your phone for you. It's a little tiny miniature tripod that holds your phone while you're making videos. And my social media coach told me, you know, that I should be making more videos. And I don't know about you, but if I hold my phone out, I mean, my whole shot goes, because I just get shaky. So this little guy, he will go just about anywhere. Catherine has one, and I just love it. And he was less than $20.
Nice.
As cute as he can be. He can sit up on a shelf. You know, my best tip is, especially if you're like me and you've got a little going on down here, you know, high angle, you know, to hide that. So I put him up. He goes higher and higher every year, and but I really like that, because, you know, we need to be making videos, and, you know, some people try to figure out how to do it. Well, the best way for me is with my phone. Yeah. And this is the best little gadget for that. And next on my list, I was playing Yahtzee on my phone, and I saw this advertisement popped up for something called Socialite, social, and then LITE, and it's this whole system. It's got lighting and everything. I mean, I could become a real pro. And I haven't asked Santa for it yet, because we already bought my gift. I bought gifts, and I already bought my gift this year. So anyway.
This is a selfie stick, but it will go into a tripod setting. And what I do is watch Amazon, because you'll have special sales. Plus, I'm in a podcasting and broadcasting Facebook group, and anytime there's a cheap webcam, cheap selfie stick, or anything, or one that's discounted like 70% or more, they post it, and I snag it, so that I have extra tools, because you never know when your computer's going to crash.
Don't say that.
Twice in November.
Ouch.
Yeah.
So, but that was, see, open up that tool again. You were showing how long the
yeah, it'll go. that was the remote. It's got a remote. It'll Bluetooth to your phone so you can take
really?
pictures, and it goes
Wow.
Nice.
You
all the
could
way,
hold
and it
it
will
up so
stand
your
up.
chin's up.
Yeah, that's so you just. That's a really good view.
And if your husband is making faces at you, you can whack him with it. I like that.
It's always important to be able to whack your husband.
Yeah.
That'll be the
And
quote of the day.
a good light option is go to Home Depot or Lowe's, and you can get contractor lights that clip on places, and they're like $5 a piece.
Wow.
Oh, those are good ideas.
That could be a stocking stuffer, Rhonda, even though you
Yeah.
already have Christmas. Santa could bring you
Yeah.
that $5.
Thankfully,
Yeah.
I have big feet, so we're good.
Well, my writer's gift is really off the charts. And it took me and it would be the ideal gift is to fly me to London and go on the London literary tour, which I think it would have to be a minimum of 3 days, if not more.
Yeah.
I want to go to Beatrice Potter's house. I want to see all the Shakespeare stuff. I want to
Jane
go to the
Austen.
bars that the Inklings met in. There is Charles Dickens stuff. So I would think at least a minimum of 3 days. Private tour that they take me around and staying at a beautiful bed and breakfast overlooking the river. Yes.
You've got to also do Jane Austen and 221B Baker Street for Sherlock
Oh,
Holmes.
yes, definitely would be that.
I want to go too. I want to go with you.
Okay, let's do that. It got me curious. I got on Amazon and there's some books about literary London with the tour stuff. Some of them were a little dated. I got real excited about getting one, and then I noticed it was published in 2007, but I guess a lot about Shakespeare and Dickens probably haven't changed since 2007. But there was one little more current one, and I'm like Rhonda. It was a little late to request it this year, but usually Santa brings me some Amazon money. That may be what I splurge. Just think about it.
I just want it written down in the writer's chat annals that Jean said she wanted to go to London and visit bars.
I'm not opposed to that.
That's what I heard.
Since we are recording, did I ever tell you guys about when I went to Ireland last year? I have an occasional glass of wine. That's it on drinking. And of course, going to all these bars in Ireland, the group we were with, several, especially the men, always got shots of different Irish whiskey because they had to try the different whiskeys. And I'm sitting there looking at the menu, and there was a writer's whiskey called Writer's Tears. Writer's Tears. And I thought, wow, in fact, hold on.
Where did she go?
Yes, you cannot go to
I keep
Ireland.
it in my office.
There's she.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow.
The little look, see how it looks like a book, and you open it, and look what's inside.
Oh, wow.
Little
Let the
white-
record show the bottles are mostly full.
I want noted that the bottles are full on that. And anyway, it's a distillery over there from the 19th century of that. And it was from the literary era of George Bernard Shaw, Oscar Wilde, E.B. Yeats, Lady Gregory. Who's Lady Gregory? I don't know Lady Gregory. James Joyce, Samuel Beckett, and Bram Stoker, Dracula.
Ooh.
Isn't that so cool?
That is
So
very
anyway,
cool.
I tried. That was my whiskey I tried. So there you go on that. So now I have to go to London and go to the bars.
Johnny, she has no clue.
I know.
What?
That would be awesome. I'm with you there, but only if we can detour up into Scotland for a few days.
Yes. Always go to Scotland.
Definitely. You got to add the Globe Theater in there with the great bard. I mean,
Oh,
Shakespeare.
yes.
Go to that.
Yes. I would want to do that. Johnny, what you got? I know you had a book.
Melissa's got it too. Dancing on the Head of a Pin by Robert Benson, because we are actually going to be doing a writer's chat book. What do we call those? Book thing? Book discussion on this book sometime in January or February. I'm not sure the day. I don't remember. So you all will want to get a copy either this might fit in a good size stocking, or from your library before we do that. And we will be announcing that. But Robert Benson, Dancing on the Head of a Pin, he's a fabulous writer. We've heard him speak at the Florida Christian Writers Conference. He's just a very different kind of person, very, very interesting and just very deep, I'll say. So this is a life-changing book. So we want to encourage y'all to get a copy.
I was on a writer's panel with him.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. And he gave me a signed copy of his book.
Oh, I think
So I'm more special than y'all.
He's
Yep.
so good.
Mine signed too.
Yay. Any other ideas for writers' gifts? Ideas? We're slowing up here, guys. We're losing people.
Well, I will agree with those trip ideas. I want one to Ireland. Must go to Ireland, and you cannot go to Ireland without visiting a pub. It's just saying, because those are like the social gathering points.
Yeah.
So
They are, and they are authentic. These little towns are just like you think they're going to be. They were so authentic. It was fun just to sit in them and just breathe in the atmosphere there. What do they burn? Bog? Is it bog that they burn?
bog.
Yeah, the smell of it. It's just.
Well, I need to find less expensive gifts. So, and my family is really into gift cards. And so I usually end up asking for an Amazon gift card because I have a subscription to Kindle Unlimited, but not all the books that I want are on there. So, writers are supposed to be voracious readers. I do ask for some books like to hold in my hand. One of them is the Writer's Market Guide, which I just saw an email. The new one is out.
New one's out. Yep.
Just in time for Christmas. The Christian Writer's Guide, that would be another, stocking stuffer, kind of $20 or so gift. That's my wheelhouse. It's usually 20 instead of 2,000. So that's kind of where I have to.
Well, and the Christian Writer's Guide, Steve Lobby posted about that on the stevelobby.com blog, I think yesterday. The online version is only $9.99, and it stays updated throughout the year. So, I mean, that is a real bargain. Yeah.
That's what I was going to suggest. The writers, if you get the Writer's Digest, you can also get the Writer's Market. I mean, you can get a whole pack, and then you can look things up, like for querying. You can do a query keyword search.
Yeah.
For magazines that accept the articles that you're trying to make searching easier, and you can set up your own searches.
We're getting some great suggestions in the chat too. Brandy, I just clicked on your part of speech poster thing. That is really cool. Can't hear you.
Yeah, that thing's awesome because I'm also an editor. So many times I'll go to that and I love the descriptions because it's such a geeky poster. It's in the chat. So the easiest thing to do is click on the link and pull it up and look at some of the descriptions because I can't bring my computer to my wall. But it's fantastic. And let me see if I can pull up my screen here just to read a couple. If I can make it big enough.
Wasn't it Bethany that suggested the emotional
thesaurus, wasn't it?
I got it. But I got it on Kindle.
Yes.
Oh, look, there's Rhonda.
Yeah, and there's a whole series of these by the same authors. I only have this one, and I would love to have another one for Christmas if Santa is watching. But there are like 5 or 6 of these, and they would all I don't write without this on my desk. My novel. I mean, this has to be on my desk.
What did you
I ran off to get another gift. This is something I actually got for a birthday, but some of you might really enjoy this. My sister's a great gift giver. The Writer's Map, an atlas of imaginary lands.
Oh.
How thick and big this book is. And it's fun. It's got all these, because I love maps. So it's got just all these all these maps and all kinds of
Amazon's gonna be busy this afternoon.
fun stuff.
Now I can share my screen and
Yes,
show
please
parts
do
of-
that, Brandy.
I haven't done it before, so bear with me. I'll see what I can do here. I have so many things up. My goodness. Let's try this one. I have to go to my share screen thing, so it won't work really good. But if somebody else maybe wants to click on the link that knows how to share the screen better than I do and can zoom it up, then maybe you guys can share it. But it's really cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think one of the hosts has to share.
Jeannie, I made you co-host. I know usually it does not work for me. I've tried before to share
I
things.
think
If
I
it's not
can do
already
it.
up, it won't do it.
I have to go into my system preferences and change stuff, so that would take too long.
Okay.
Rhonda, can you do it? What if I
I
make
think
you?
I
I'm
think
gonna
I
make you
can.
co-host.
Here we go. I'm going to share my screen.
I was trying to pull. Oh,
Do you
there it
see
is.
Do you
She
see it
did it.
now?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see if I can make it bigger.
There's the magnifying glass down on the bottom, I think.
Okay, here, I was doing it here. Just because I'm a geek, the Control Plus, usually it did my whole thing. Okay, down near the bottom of the screen, I don't see a magnifying glass.
I saw
Bottom
it.
right in the
Yeah.
orange part.
All right, you guys have to go. Bye. Okay, so
Okay,
there.
I've got
there
a
you go.
question for all you editors and people who actually understand the parts of speech. When did verbs extend to transitive and intransitive? When I was in school, we had nouns and verbs.
I do not know the answer to that question. I'm not sure I even know the difference.
So
between
some verbs are
transitive.
transitive, some are intransitive, some are both. That means that some
course
verbs
they
take a direct object and others don't need a direct object.
Yeah, but when did they change it to a name? I mean, it used to be.
I
you
think
just
it's
had,
always probably been a name. It's just in school they don't always teach all of that extra stuff.
I am being totally unsuccessful in zooming in.
Making it bigger, but doesn't it look fascinating? I just
like
think that.
it gives the picture of a noun. They use Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, I see him here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't get in there. I'm
Oh,
already
let
at
me see.
300%. So sorry, but anyway, that's it. It looks
It
really
is really
cool.
cool.
Here, let me read at least. Let me see. You can see kind of what it looks like, and I can go to my screen where I do have it bigger. Whoop, get it down here. And I want to read one because one section is pretty darn cool. So it's like, where are my verbs here? Transitive verb requires an object. And the example they give is they erected the skyscraper. Intransitive does not require an object. The skyscraper collapsed. Some can be both. Godzilla collapsed the building. So, when I can't remember something, I'll come over and I'll take a look at it. They have like verbs, like an infinitive is the root verb preceded by to, and then they have to dream in the picture of this little dude here. And then they have a gerund, ing verb as a noun. Dreaming can be, oh gosh, that's really, really tight. Dreaming can be weird with a picture of a unicorn in a bubble.
We had my son had to learn all of that in he was in CC is what the nickname. It's a homeschooling co-op. And because they knew I was a writer, every time they'd come up on something, they'd be like, "You're the writer. What do you think?" I'm like, "I don't even know what a transitive verb is. I mean, I know transit. You can get in and drive, but I don't think that's the way I hated it. Like that's why I hire editors. That's why you hire editors.
You got to check out the adverbs because they have like adverbs of manner, of place, of frequency, of time, and of purpose. And so adverbs of manner, Gizmo sits quietly. Adverbs of place, keep him away from water. Adverbs of frequency, never feed a mogwai after midnight. Adverbs of time, the mogwai is now a gremlin. Adverbs of purpose, Gizmo has arrived to save the day.
The poster has personality, doesn't
It
it?
really does. It really does. I love this thing. The only thing that I had that I kind of was a little sad about when I got it was that it was a little bit busy. So when I got the poster, I took red colored pencil and I went around there's like a outer box. And so like all the adjective, the pronouns, the box for the adverbs and all of that, those are highlighted in white because I went with my red colored pencil and went all around the boxes just so that I could see them a little bit better.
Keep him away from water, Catherine.
Yeah.
Yes, I will say that for grammar questions, there's a website called Quick and Dirty Tricks and Grammar Girl. And almost always when I just Google stuff like that if I can think of the term, and if I don't understand a term, then that's usually where I go is Quick and Dirty Tips to Grammar Girl.
Always good. It's always good.
Yeah, I use that poster all the time for the transitive and intransitive verbs when I'm writing. It's required direction doesn't
poster.
Yeah.
On that. Well, I think Rachel's made some notes in the chat too that I think is interesting. That she would want to go to New Zealand to visit her sister and write because she's a writer also. New Zealand, you guys, wouldn't that be so cool? On that way. And she still doesn't know Microsoft Word. That's on her wish list. And that Pro Writing Aid. Remember we talked a while back on Pro Writing, didn't we? That would be a good gift. And I thought that was good. And then she said there are cheat sheets for Chicago manual style. She put that in the chat too. So on that way. And Brandy, what's the light box for light therapy? I got one on my desk.
I just realized I really, really need one. It's taken me forever to figure that out, but I think I'm going to get myself one because I just have so much darkness and I find myself craving light. Yeah. And I think it does affect moods. And if you're a writer, you're sitting so much in the office, you really could use that time. And it supposedly boosts mood and helps your overall well-being. So I'm looking into that one.
A writer in Drury, Ohio this time of year, it helps. But I found out I only can leave it on about 15, 20 minutes. It's really.
Yeah, and to use it in the morning.
Yes, in the morning.
In the morning.
On it, yep. And that's usually how I have mine on my desk. So it's ready to go, though we have sunshine in Ohio today on that way. So these great tips, great gift ideas.
Since Rhonda brought up podcasting and broadcasting and live streaming, I highly recommend that you gift yourself the free software of OBS Studio.
Yeah.
If you are serious about getting into, it's a really great starter. I mean, it's really great, period. But it's a very good, very easy starter studio, and you can use it to live stream to Facebook.
Is that Microsoft and Mac friendly, or is that one platform only?
I don't speak Mac.
Okay.
It is available for Mac because I have it, and I do speak Mac, and I had OBS. I haven't been doing any broadcasting lately, so but I had it, and you have to link it. It's a little techie to link it, but once it's linked, it works really. You could put little subtitles, like your name on things, like how we got here, your name on things. Can't you put names and stuff?
I know you can get more fancy, and I believe there's some paid alternatives that you can get out of OBS, and there is a lot of live streaming paid opportunities that are coming available that will multicast for you so that you don't eat your bandwidth. You're only sending it out to one location, but it'll send it out to YouTube and to pretty much there's some of them send out to 30, 60 different streaming alternatives. So there's a lot of, and that would be that's something Santa could buy you, is a subscription to one of those.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Johnny, what is it that you need? Is this your request for Christmas? You're muted.
That's because I was typing. I always have to mute when I type. Yes, for Christmas, I need an idea for a romantic suspense novel. That's the synopsis is due in February.
Maybe we should get the NaNoWriMo chat group in and help you brainstorm.
That would be a great idea. We can do that.
I just asked the question, can we ask Santa for synopses?
Yeah, why not? Why not? And
So-
the,
He gives the copyrights over.
Yeah, there you go.
Why don't you, this is what I do, is I look in the local news for local news stories and then kind of flip them to fit, like in our instance, one of the story prompts for a book that I wrote, we found a purse floating in the ditch after a big rain. And after doing some research, I found out that after big rains, some rivers will flow the wrong way. And so in my story, she was killed somewhere else, and the purse floated upstream to this location. And
that's
so-
a cool twist. Well, Debbie wrote that she'd love more time to relax and write, and I thought that was also a great Christmas thing. And that thought, yeah, and so her Christmas wish prompted me to put my Christmas put mine there too. Dory, yes, January 28th is the day we're discussing Robert Benson's books, and that's here on Writers Chat. That is a Tuesday, right?
Yes, I don't know. I don't have a
Yeah,
calendar.
the 28th. So yes, that's the day we're going to be doing that. So you got about a month to.
Okay, so
Yeah.
plenty of time for that and stuff. So we've got books, we have technology, we have wishes for art writing, we have trips. Anybody else on trips? We had a New Zealand and a literary London. We had Ireland. Anybody else got a trip?
Rhonda suggested Scotland.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess-
Scotland, gotta go.
Debbie?
Debbie popped back on. I bet.
Yeah, I got Debbie going. What's your trip, Debbie?
Well, this summer I spent 5 weeks in Europe, and I feel like I just got started on on my discovering it, and I really would like to go back, and I really want to write more. My stepmom lived in Europe for 8 years, and so she just got me wanting to fall in love with it. And there's so much I'd love to write, but I need more time there. So I'd like to go back.
Where in Europe? Is
We
there
went to France and Italy and Austria.
Yep.
So
Boy, there's
loved
some
it.
key places.
Some
Wow.
photos from a close friend who went to Austria, and my goodness, gorgeous.
It is. It's very, very
May,
gorgeous.
you guys, May, it's coming.
Where are you going?
I'll go anywhere you people want to take me.
Right. Where are you going in May, Jeannie?
We are actually going to go back to Germany, to Bavaria. That's one of our favorite spots. We've been there a couple of times, and it's to visit in that area. Then the trip takes us over to Czech and Austria, and I've not been to those two places, so that'll be new. And then we come back to Bavaria, and we get to see the Passion Play. It's on my husband's bucket list to see that. No,
Over on
I
You
don't know.
already have your place planned in
Yeah.
Austria?
Yeah, it's on a trip. It's a package thing. with
Oh,
the
okay.
play. So yeah, so we're going to see all that. And then I had to learn all about the Passion Play, 7 hours long in German, semi-outside stadium. So
and
it'll
they
be,
only do it every 10 years.
I hope they
if you
got
don't
lots of intermissions.
2-hour-long intermissions is what they have on
Wow.
that. So it is something that, and of course all in German, but I said, well, I kind of know the story, you know. So I think it's going to be like one of those once in a lifetime things. So that'll be cool. So I'm excited about that. It might
Are
end
you
up
going to
leading to something.
Are you going to go see Neuschwanstein?
Yes, and we were there a number of years ago, but the trip takes us back there again, which, if you don't know what that is, that's the castle Walt Disney based. I don't know if it's Disney World or Disneyland on the castle.
Yeah. It is one of the most interesting places I've ever been. We were there in 1990 when I've only been to Europe once, when we went to adopt my daughter, and we landed in Germany on our plane, and then we drove through Germany and Austria and Hungary and into Romania, and it's unforgettable. When you're standing in front of a clock tower and it has on it the year it was built, 1211. I mean, I just had to stand there because I'm an American, and I'm like, we don't have things that old. And it was life altering, really, to get that sense of history.
Europe is so rich, just rich. Well, travel always makes us richer, even if it's just traveling the next county over. Sometimes you could be think about that. You could be a tourist in your own area, and gather writers' stories, on that.
I went to school
Everybody
in
want to
South
come to
Alabama.
Vermont.
Yeah, exactly. I went to school in South Alabama, and most of the people who attended South Alabama when I was there were from out of the country because they didn't have to pay out of state. They paid out of state tuition, so they got off really light. And one of my friends was from Europe, and I was like, I'm so amazed at all the different places you've been. And he asked me how many states I'd visited, and he said each state is like the countries in Europe. Y'all just don't see it. Y'all speak your own language. You have your own customs. I mean, how many people have been from Alabama have been to New York, and they literally can't communicate because the languages are so different. I mean, maybe y'all haven't experienced it, but I literally watched it happen.
Oh my goodness. I went to California and people picked on me about my dialect. And then I came back home. I was there for a month. I came back home and everybody was picking on me about how I said my A's because I went from pants to pence. I'm like, what?
Funny.
So true.
Say, Johnny, I was just looking online for that Dancing on the Head of a Pin book, and there's like 6 different titles with that.
It's by
What
Robert Benson.
Robert Benson. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I will be.
Here's what it looks like again.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, this is the one. This is the one you'll want.
To me, it's probably, well, of course, we heard him in person, which made the book come alive even more. But I think that's probably one of the speakers we heard that I continue to today as a writer to use some of the things he talks about in that book. It was very usable.
We've talked about him before on Writer's Chat too, because he's the one that has the 3 different hats. The writer's hat, the business hat, the editing hat. And, if you remember us ever talking about any of that.
On that. Well, it's almost noontime. So Eddie, last minute wishes, trips.
Self-promotion. I have self-promotion.
Self-promotion while the recording's gone. Go for it.
Hope is Born, the Mosaic Christmas Anthology. 9 short stories. Mine is one of the shortest ones in here. Mine is called The Caretaker's Christmas. It's a really special story to me because it was truly an answer to prayer, and his voice was so strong in my head, and it's a very different story than anything I've written before. A reviewer who I don't know said it was a timeless classic, and just, that just really warmed my heart and brought tears to my eyes. So anyway, if you're looking for a just released, earlier this month.
Beautiful cover.
Isn't it beautiful?
Very nice cover.
And I've read, I think I've read 6 of the stories now, and they're all very different. Some of them are like contemporary romance. Some of them they're all contemporaries, but they are kind of different genres. So it's not like they're not all the same. Different voices. It really is a really good collection. I'm proud to be part of it. So
it would be a good book to give to someone else who's a reader, because they have such a potpourri of
stories.
Types of stories. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Where can we get it, Johnny?
It's on Amazon, only on Amazon. Yeah. But there's a print edition and there is an ebook edition too. So we're also, again, just self-promoting here, we're doing a Facebook party that's going on, and I think it's just Hope is Born. Maybe if you just look for that in the Facebook group, and we're giving away different prizes, including copies of our other books, and there's some games going on and that kind of thing. So I'd love for any of you to be included in that if you want to be. It's going on all this week and ends on Friday. So,
well, in the spirit of self-promotion,
do it.
I would love for y'all to join me. I'm doing Growing Hope daily, and you can find that at growinghoperadio.com or snarkyrainbows.com. And right now I am going through the book Place and Purpose, and I am breaking it down into the details that you need. You can get the book at harnessyourwhy.com, or you can just come over and listen to the podcast or broadcast, because I have it both ways.
Wow.
Great. Good for you, Catherine.
That is great. Stretching yourself, growing in that area. That is really cool. Very
Snarky
cool.
Rainbows.
Snarky Rainbows. I love it.
I will say I just found your book, Johnny, the Christmas book. It's free on Kindle Unlimited.
Is it?
Yes.
So there you go. You got Kindle Unlimited. You can read it for nothing.
Oh,
thrilled.
that sounds exciting. Hey, and while the recording's still going, this is December, what are we up to? 17th. We are not meeting over the Christmas holidays. So we are taking a Christmas break. We will be back January 7th. And if I remember right, this is talk about a play on words. This is going to be, you're going to hear this so often because everybody's using it. 2020 is the year of vision. So we're going to have a roundtable discussion yet. What is your vision for 2020 as a writer, and the clarity and what you plan, and just some sharing of we're going to put some of those hopes and dreams into action in 2020 and stuff.
But since you said that,
Yeah.
I'm doing a live stream on the Catherine C. Lang where I walk through my whiteboard of world domination system so that you can create your world dominating plan for your writing.
You still have that in your office?
I do. It's hiding behind this.
Yeah, I was going to say, you usually have it in your office. I remember that.
So it is up there on I have different screens for different broadcasts.
Yes. So anyway, and then, okay, Rachel was wondering about the chat. You going to save the chat? One of you two save the chat and put it in the, we'll put the chat in writers chat member area too. So Rachel can see the chat on that way, and the replay on that way. So I just want to take time to wish you all a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Yes.
On that way. I have started my process of going through my journal. I always go through my journal at the end of the year and do a little summary about the last year, and then my hopes for the next year. And since it's the end of the decade by some definitions, I'm going to the last 10 years of my journal. So I started that process. That process the other day. So that's one reason why we're not going to meet for 2 weeks. No, that's going to take a while on that way. So I'm in the process of doing that, and it's fun to do that. But anyway, wishing you all Merry Christmas, and this has been fun today just chatting. So I really love you guys and love having you here. Johnny or Melissa, or anybody want to say anything at the tail end here?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
All right. Merry Christmas, everybody. And those of you that are here, stay on for a little bit for the after party. We'll see you guys January 7th. Bye now.
Bye, everyone.